Yet again, I face a question that demands an answer. However, this was a comment from the previous video. When I first read it, I almost choked on my transparent coffee. But then it started to linger on me. I couldn't believe anyone actually wanted to know this. But then, like the brilliant scientist I am, I started to work on it. And I think I might have just got the results. Warning though, the following results I present to you might be disappointing and lead to a comment section with only one comment about how I did a horrible job. You have been warned. Hello and welcome back. This time I had quite the battle figuring out the answer to this question. Which is the strongest superweapon in Destiny? I was given 4 suggestions, these ones right here. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. Let's start with the Leviathan. The Leviathan is a massive Cabal ship owned by Emperor Callus. I have already estimated the size of it in a previous video. You can click this link right here in order to see it, if you're interested, that is. The Leviathan is a world eater. It consumes planets and centaurs in order to make the sacred royal wine for its emperor and captain, Callus. I wouldn't call it particularly a real weapon, but nonetheless, it actually carries an arsenal on it. But these weapons are basically missiles and cannons that can be aimed at a target and allows the ammunition to get the homing/tracking abilities. They are strong enough to destroy a Cabal ship, like we do in the Spire of Stars raid. But let's talk about the force of the Leviathan's mouth. As we know from Destiny 2, it's sitting next to Nessus, the centaur, and it's slowly consuming it. But how strong does the sucking have to be? This is really tricky to figure out. We know and see that the Leviathan are indeed sucking up parts of Nessus. Judging by the distance from where we are in this case, we can't really say how big the pieces are, and neither if these are loose parts or landmass being ripped off Nessus. Seeing how space is just a big vacuum itself, the Leviathan most likely doesn't even suck up those parts, but rather pulling them towards the ship via a gravitational pull. The pull has to be stronger than Nessus' escape velocity, which I couldn't find any information about. But let's give Nessus the escape velocity of Mars, roughly 5 kilometers per second. Or we can also give it Mercury's escape velocity, 4.2 kilometers per second. Either way, the pull has to be strong enough to make objects go, in Mars' escape velocity's case, faster than 5 kilometers per second or 18,000 kilometers per hour. In Mercury's case, it needs to go faster than 4.2 kilometers per second or 15,120 kilometers per hour. So yes, a strong pull. Leviathan with its missile are pretty weak if we just consider its arsenal. Next up is the Dreadnaught. Created by Oryx, the Taken King, this big hive ship sits around the rings of Saturn. The main weaponry sits on the side of the ship. One blast from it can decimate nearly anything in a roughly 15,000 kilometers in diameter area. However, the true power and potential damage would result in the entire solar system's end, according to one of K6's dialogues.
So the Centurion's Bond brothers are pretty angry they lost their commander. They're leading a team to blow the Dreadnaught's core. Core goes, most of the system goes with it.
If the Dreadnaught's core were to be destroyed, it would basically destroy us all. But the weapon itself would only hurt things in an area a bit bigger than Earth. The source of it comes from Oryx himself. He allows power from his Ascendant realm to enter our own and then fire that power in a spherical area. The powers from the Ascendant realm can't be calculated, but it's basically a separate universe where Oryx is a god and has control over his own throne world, or in other words, his own section of that very universe. The power itself can be estimated to be completely fatal. The Dreadnaught's weapon is the same as his son's, Crota's, Oversoul. and even Oryx's own champion known as the War Priest, Oculus. As we can see here, its devastating forces results in a death pretty much, and it seems to also kill the souls of its victims. However, if Oryx were to be even stronger, or if it allowed every energy possible from his Ascendant realm, would he then be able to decimate the entire solar system with just his ship and not the fatal destruction of his own core? It's pretty unknown, to be sure. Moving swiftly on to the Almighty. The Almighty is a massive, powerful weapon of the Red Legion, created by Dominus Gold, the main villain in Destiny 2. It is about the Dreadnought size in length. It turns a star into a supernova, which is basically when a star dies, it goes out in an unthinkable explosion that ruins entire solar systems and makes it shine brighter than anything ever. Our Sun, however, is too small to turn into a supernova. A star needs the equivalent of 8 solar masses. 1 solar mass is equal to the mass of our Sun, so if you take 8 suns of mass, then you can basically create a supernova. But let's say that our Sun had 8 solar masses and can go supernova. What would the force be then? Well, let's start with a megaton, and what that is. 1 megaton have the energy equivalent of 1 million tons of TNT. 1 megaton of TNT is the equivalent of 4.18 times 10 to the 15 joules. And joules is a unit to measure the energy output. A supernova is the equivalent of 1.0 times 10 to the 44 joules, or circa 2.4 times 10 to the 28th megaton, which means that 2.4 times 10 to the 28th megaton is equal to 1 times 10 to the 174 millions of TNT. That number is so massive that it doesn't even have a name, or at least as far as I know. It will look like this. Yeah, try saying that 3 times fast. Sure, it doesn't show the true powers of the Almighty's beam itself, but it shows the damage that it would cause. The damage would be so harsh that our solar system would be so damaged that only the furthest away planets would survive. And yes, in this calculation we said that the Sun had the equivalent of 8 solar masses. But it doesn't matter, the damage would still be catastrophic nonetheless. We don't know the true power of the Almighty, but if it can destroy a star, then it's pretty safe to say that it's really powerful. Despite the Almighty being able to kill a star, however, maybe, just maybe, it isn't the strongest weapon in all of Destiny. Finally, the Traveler. The Traveler is the giant 14 kilometers orb in the sky that the Guardians protect. It has the capacity to grant someone with light/powers and also smells like vanilla on the inside. It was discovered by 3 astronauts on Mars, and since then it has been hovering over the lost city for years. We have seen it fire something only once. At the end of the Destiny 2 campaign, the Traveler awakes and eliminates Dominus Gold while also spreading a wave of light that travels at an unknown speed. The blast radius is insane. It goes beyond our solar system and even out of our own galaxy, the Milky Way, which we are currently in, and it's 100,000 light years across. 1 light year is how long the distance that light travels in 1 year, which is roughly 9.5 trillion kilometers. And judging by this cutscene, it seems to be traveling faster than light speed, which would be impossible. But is this a weapon attack? Well, kind of. It does kill Goal, but he is in a spiritual form, and it doesn't seem to ruin anything else. And now I think we've reached the opinion-based factors. How do you really determine the power of light? Well, in this instance, you don't. All we know is that it is powerful. After all, it can give users powers that us Guardians have. It can create ghosts and even hold back the darkness. We have no numbers to work with. Maybe light only affects soul-based or non-physical materials only. In that case, the Traveler might be the strongest, right? If a weapon can kill off the afterlife of a being, wouldn't that be the strongest thing? I couldn't find any results either about what if the Traveler was destroyed. We can only theorize what would happen in that case. Maybe it would result in a big explosion that would be like a massive nuke. Or maybe it would explode with enough force to create the same giant blast radius we talked about earlier. but everything in it being heavily damaged. If so, then the Traveler definitely win as the strongest Destiny weapon. This is my answer. It all comes down to what you think. Is the Traveler stronger because of its insane blast radius and powers over death and life? Is the Dreadnaught stronger because it's powered by a chunk of a separate universe and ruled by a god who can be stronger and now has weakened before we killed him? Is the Almighty stronger because it can destroy a star? I'm leaving it up to you. Post your thoughts in the comment section.